Who's?
Presente. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Hello, council members. My name is Matoya Darby. I am with King County Wastewater Treatment Division. I am a capital project manager.
My name is Eric Walagorski. I'm with Carollo Engineers. I'm the project manager on the design side for this.
We're here today to discuss the East Side Interceptor Section 2, Phase 2 rehabilitation project. Today we wanted to present just an overview of the project, what we've done to date as far as coordination, some of the elements of the project that are in the city right-of-way, what those impacts will be to transportation, and the community outreach that we've done thus far. The East Side Interceptor was built in 1962. It is a 96-inch reinforced concrete pipe, which conveys the sewage to the South Treatment Plant here in Renton. Phase 1 of this project was completed in 1988, and Phase 2 is 3,900 linear feet of this same 96-inch diameter pipe. And the purpose of this is to rehabilitate the pipe to extend the useful life. It's been determined that this section of the East Side Interceptor is corroded. It's considered a high priority, which we consider severe corrosion. And in these images, you see some of the rebar starting to show. That means it's quite corroded, and we'd like to get a chance to get in there and rehabilitate this pipe, which is going to require quite a large sewer bypass of pretty much the entire volume that's inside the pipe. Some of the coordination that we've taken on thus far is working with your City of Renton staff to discuss permitting, right-of-way impacts, and how we're going to mitigate traffic. We've also discussed and had pretty good meetings with Boeing thus far to discuss land use. We'll show you some images of the property that we're looking to use on Boeing property, as well as their concerns about potential pedestrian and traffic impacts. We've also discussed shoring requirements with Burlington Northern Santa Fe, as well as our power requirements needed for this project with PSC.
So at this point, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the project itself. There's going to be two primary impacts, project impacts that to the City of Renton right-of-way. The first would be the temporary bypass system that Matoya talked about. In order to rehabilitate this line trenchlessly, which is what we're proposing to do, we need to convey all the flow that's in that line around the project site so that the workers can get in there, construct the platforms, and do the trenchless rehabilitation. So there's going to be some bypass pipe that is going to need to be installed within city right-of-way. And then there's going to be an excavation pit on the south end of the project to discharge the flows back into the existing interceptor, and that'll be within Burnett Avenue north. And we're going to propose actually closing that section of Burnett. The other part of the project element is the actual work itself, which is the rehabilitation. And that'll have a much smaller impact on the traffic as it's happening. It's going to be localized around the manholes, existing manholes, where we'll set up for crews to go in and do the rehabilitation itself. We'll have certain areas where we're inducing air into the system and then pulling it back out for ventilation and doing odor control. So you'll see those little staging areas around some of the existing manholes along the 3,900 feet from Boeing, the top end of Boeing, at the north lot, which we'll show you a picture of, all the way down to Burnett. So a couple of pictures of some of the stuff that you might see. This is a photograph of what temporary bypass pumps would look like and some of the piping. Our intention is to use Boeing's north lot at the north end of the project, which is where the PSC substation is, and the road goes up towards Gene Coulon Park. So this would be on private property, all the pumps, but it would be visible from the Renton Landing and from the community, Southporth and whatnot. So we're working with noise mitigation, sound attenuation designers, and also visual barriers to deal with that. Some of the temporary bypass pipes, we currently have this at about a 30% design, and we're proposing the installation of 3 24-inch diameter pipes to bypass the amount of flow that we need to bypass. We are designing this bypass system for 45 million gallons per day. This will be done dry weather, so June through September is our intention of next year, and Matoya will talk about that. So you'll see 3 of these pipelines installed across a little bit of Boeing property, and then again down City of Renton right away down to Burnett Avenue. So this shows a conceptual bypass piping, the project limits. The yellow square on the top of the picture is the north lot, which is where the pumps would be installed. The pipeline runs a little bit along Boeing property and then crosses their access point at gate D9. At that point, the pipeline would go into City of Renton right away and would be installed in the bike lane. So we would take the bike lane from that point all the way down to 8th Avenue, and the pipes would be installed in a rack 3 tall, protected by jersey barriers. At the intersections into Boeing and at the transit stops, we would trench the bypass pipes so that we would bury them. So those are the impacts that you would see as far as the bypass pipe. And then again, at each of the manholes along this location, we'd have smaller impacts during the actual rehabilitation. So some of the transportation impacts analysis that we have done so far is this transportation analysis will be prepared and submitted with our permitting package. We've been in discussions with city staff, and we're identifying ways to minimize traffic impacts, again, to Boeing and to the Renton Landing. So this project, again, is going to be installed in 3 main phases. So we have to install the bypass system, which we're assuming is going to take about 2 months to install. So you're probably talking April and May of next year. And then the actual installation of the line of bond system, which is the trenchless rehabilitation of this pipe, will take approximately 4 months to happen. And then the bypass system removal. So you'll have 3 different phases of traffic mitigation and traffic control to try and mitigate issues with pedestrian and vehicular traffic. And then we're also looking at possible traffic detours for short term while we do the installation of some of these bypass systems, whether it be in the racks above ground in the bike lane or trenched through intersections like 10th Avenue and across the rapid ride transit stop.
So thus far, some of our community outreach efforts include creating a project website. We have the ability for the community to sign up by email or receive texts when they want to get updated on the project or when something new shows up on the website. Some of the main key stakeholders that we've talked to thus far are the landing, the new hotel Southport. We've also discussed the project with Renton Chamber of Commerce, Kennydale Neighborhood Association, North Renton Neighborhood Association, as well as the Signature Auto Detail, which is close to Burnett. They would have the most impact. We've also reached out to PACCAR, Kenworth, and the 2 apartment complexes that are across the street from Boeing's north lot. We're going to continue to reach out to them. We haven't heard back from them yet. Most of what we've heard so far is that most people understand the need for the project, but they do have concerns about traffic as well as noise and odors. And so we're going to definitely be addressing those concerns through mitigation, temporary odor measures, and noise attenuation, as Eric explained. We're also, one other thing is we're looking at electric pumps instead of diesel, which would eliminate quite a bit of emissions as well as the need for several diesel trucks to come in and refuel the pumps on a regular basis. As we move along in the project, we're looking to continue frequent communication with the public. We're looking to hold an online open house. We found that online seems to be a little bit more successful. People are busy nowadays and don't have the time to attend open houses in person. So we'll have that available. And another is we're looking to reach out to some elementary schools for water system education and hopefully get kids interested in clean water programs. Our next steps, we're in the beginning phases of the 60% design. We just received a permit from the City of Renton to begin potholing, to look at the existing utilities along the route. We're looking for construction to begin in March of 2019, with work ending at the end of 19. A lot of this is heavily dependent on our easements, access agreements, and permits. We'll be submitting for our permit with the City of Renton in October of this year, and our construction schedule is set for the very first day of 2019. And I believe that's the last slide. Yeah.
Be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
I have.
Go ahead.
Just to be clear, because I'm new to hearing about this one, no cost to the City of Renton, correct?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Out of pocket cost. What's the plan for the overlay when it's finished? That's all brand new
Brand
roadway
new.
down there.
So this project is primarily being done trenchlessly. So where we are having to trench for the bypass systems, we would replace the asphalt to match. A lot of this has to do with, especially the concrete panels that you have at the intersections of Logan Avenue and 10th, and we're going to have to restore those to match existing. So.
Okay.
So the street you're coming down is Logan,
Correct.
and how far down Logan are you going?
So we are going all the way from, so if you look at your screen there, so we would start right there at, believe that's Garden. And so it'd go from Garden all the way down to 6th at the bottom, and we turn east on 6th to Burnett. So currently we have it identified to be along Logan all the way to 8th Avenue, and then we hope to be able to use the vacant property, which is owned by ITF. We're in discussions with ITF to be able to install the pipes over land on their private property, but that property is in the process of being sold. So we're having some discussions with them. If we are unable to use ITF property, we would continue down Logan to the top end of Boeing's parking lot there on the bottom end, and then cross over and be in the grassy area behind the sidewalk. So we would realistically, worst case, be in Logan from Garden down to that big parking lot on the south end below the yellow box.
Okay, so you stop at North 6th.
Correct. This phase of the project stops at 6th and Burnett, where the Bryn Mawr sewer trunk comes in from the City of Renton.
Okay. What is the cost of the project?
Currently, our estimate is $46 million.
How much?
$46 million.
$46 million. I thought I heard it right. Any other questions? Armando? No?
No.
Oh, you
no.
were.
Hold the pen out.
Well, thank you. It's nice the council really appreciates getting an early warning on this kind of stuff. And as you were talking about, my big concern, which is not a concern anymore, was our seniors getting to the senior center, but you're not going close enough that you're going to affect the senior center. So that's not a concern at all. Being a senior, I go there once in a while, but Just joking. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next topic is, if anybody has any, oh, I threw my sheet away. I think it's emerging issues,
Regional issues.
regional issues. Does anybody have regional issues they wish to bring up?
I don't at this time.
Brian does.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick update on the Affordable Housing Task Force. We're not meeting this month. We're meeting in September with hopes of having a more finalized plan. They are going to send out draft recommendations through a public process, so the public will have opportunity to provide input on some of the plan before we come back in. Meanwhile, Sound Cities Association is going to weigh in fairly heavily, so I'm happy to keep you all informed on some of the details if you want to take a look and then provide that input back through Sound Cities and me. But at this point, we're on schedule maybe a month later than they were supposed to. I think we're supposed to be done in September, and now we may be done more likely in October, hopefully. So that's all.
Any other regional issues? In that case, Committee of the Whole is adjourned.
Thank you.